Now, why is it that this is so provocative? Because we could feel one of two ways. You could feel really bad because you were so ignorant that you did this, or you could feel really deceived. And I'd rather have you think it was the deception, that the cultural, the societal, the economic deception that has gone on. And we have reduced ourselves, relegated ourselves as a human species in modern civilization to allow the guy who is the shrewdest, the most cunning, who has their hand on the bank, to be the guide for human decisions. This is frightening stuff. So the shrewdest, the con men, are the guys that we literally allow to make decisions on what you think, how you dress, how you live, etc. And nobody ever questions this because it looks quite normal. Now, if you have a little bit of imagination, you don't have to have a lot of imagination, just a little bit of imagination. You may start to liberate yourself and ask the question, could it be possible that this has been a very successful plan that has been instrumented into creating and controlling the economics and future of humanity? Well, I've pondered that now since I was a young boy in my early 20s, and I've come up with a definitive answer: yes, Y-E-S. And every time I look at this deeply, it doesn't surprise me anymore that this is all something that has been manufactured. And it's not a conspiracy, it's greed at its worst. It's greed at its worst. We are willing to sacrifice human life and the future of humanity for the profits of a few. I will once again report to you what this conversation's about. We are willing to sacrifice your health, your life, the life of your children, your grandchildren, the future of humanity for a few people, those deceptive con artists, to make money. Now, you could throw your hands up, as I would have at one point, and said, well, it's too big for me, I can't do anything. There's one thing I learned, that the only thing these people know, because they're not conscious in any other way, they have no awareness, no imagination, no spiritual increment. My latest book is discussing that in Emo Spirit. It will be out soon. So they literally are blinded like this. But one thing they do see 24 hours a day, 7 days a week is money. And if you know what I'm telling you is true, and let's hope to God you know what I'm telling you is true, because if you don't know what I'm telling you is true, something's wrong with you. Something's wrong with you. You like to be abused. You're a self-loather. You have no self-respect. If you don't know what I'm telling you is true, then take away what they know. No, the money. I'm not going to put money into it. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to support this industry of death, dying, and disease. Now, what are those industries? Let's be vividly clear. You can watch it every night on television here in the United States. Because when most people are watching television, after they're exhausted from working for those industries all day long, they come home and plop on television, and the ads are fast foods, and when you go along with that program, the next ad are the drugs that you basically take as a result of what the fast foods caused. Now that's the two people you've got to look at. You want your eyes on the ball? You have two eyes. That's one eye, that's another eye. If you're not watching these people, you're not doing your job as an ethical human being. You're not ethical if you're not doing this. And again, the one way you take away their power is a two-letter word. Yes takes three. Oh, yes takes a little effort. No takes less effort. No. Now, what are you worried about? You're going to starve to death? All I ate was meat. My God, I didn't know what a vegetable was. I haven't starved to death. I flourished. I thrived. In my late 60s, I feel like I'm a 20-year-old kid. And I've watched thousands, tens of thousands of people recover from disease because they said no. And they said yes to themselves. Yes, I deserve to do the right thing. Yes, I deserve to be liberated. Yes, I deserve to know the truth. Yes, I deserve to live the way God intends me to live. Human life is a gift, and we should be the highest species on the planet Earth that honors and respects and protects the gift that God and nature gave us. And we destroy it. We urinate on it. We curse at it. And we all do this in the name of God. Shame on us. That's mental sickness, is what it is. First page. Again, when I said Bible, oh, all of you woke up. Bible. Oh, yeah, the Bible. How many of you here, again, read the Bible? Raise your hand. So, for those of you out there in the world, 95% of the people that were in this room here with us at the Real Truth About Health conference, raise your hand. Well, have you remembered the first page? So let's go back to your Bible that all of you seem to be quite familiar with. So the first page, and I'll do it in detail in a modern American English way, so maybe this will permeate you. I won't say thous and those and these and that. I won't do that. God says that I gave you a gift, and the meats are the fruits from the trees, and the medicines are the herbs of the earth. And when we sinned, the later part of this document, we reduced ourselves to eating other creatures. Hippocrates Health Institute, since 1956, has put 100% of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people on a plant-based organic diet, and we have not gotten weak, we've gotten strong. We have not aged prematurely, we've slowed the aging process. We have not succumbed to diseases that mainstream medicine with their highly educated puppets tell you are incurable. We've watched people heal themselves. Now, you have an option today to say that was provocative and extreme and I just have to go out and get something to eat. Or you can say, that scared the shit out of me. And that's what happened to me. You think I became enlightened one day? I didn't become enlightened, I became frightened. Holy God! If I ate another morsel of that nonsense that I was eating, I would have exploded and died. And it was pure fear. Fear of death. And if that's what it takes for you to change, God bless you. You ought to be frightened because you're marching to death. Most of you at the health store are marching to death. I watch the nonsense, hundreds of dollars of nonsense people are buying at the organic stores and thinking it's health food. It's garbage. It's, again, another layer of deception. It's justified deception. Oh, I buy it from that health store, so it must be healthy. If it's packaged, if it has additives, if it's mixed, it is not what nature placed on the planet. I'll once again review. You have this thing called the sun. It produces photons captured in photosynthesis on green leafy plants. That's what you should be eating. Now, do I think fruit was the original diet of man? Absolutely. Do I think it is today? Absolutely not. Because man messed with fruit. We never leave anything alone. Nothing's good enough for us. Herbal medicine wasn't good because we couldn't make money on herbal medicine. You could pick it out in your backyard. So we had to mess with it. We had to change herbal medicine so we could put patents on it. Now it's called pharmaceutical medicine, which, by the way, you may notice a 1-minute commercial, which now America is not the only isolated country in the world that permitted their citizens to be exposed to propaganda about buying medicines, because the doctor is so exhausted, because most of us are sick, they don't even have time to see the salesman anymore. So back in the 80s, the pharmaceutical industry realized they've got to train the patient to tell the doctor what to give them. Oh, you laugh. Is what I'm telling you true? You don't get that? That's true, people. But now you have this around the world. Around the world, they're putting commercials on TV. But notice those 1-minute commercials. Half of it are the damaging and the dangerous things that may happen to you if you take that medicine. Is anyone a little suspicious? No, because you're sedated. You have animal fat in your brains. That's all I can say. I think a cow is more intelligent than most of us. Honest to God. Honest to God. So you go right along with the well, I'm getting old, so arthritis is normal. My wife directed Europe's most famous center on arthritis. The government was stunned. They literally came in, spent $2.5 million on looking at what happened when you put people on plant-based diets in Sweden, because their government seems to be one of the most ethical I've ever seen on the planet Earth, and started to send Swedish citizens there through a program like Hippocrates. And in 1982, I asked a parliamentarian, one of their Congress people, why do you do that? And the Swedes are so gracious and kind and highly educated. You realize that until the day a Swede dies, 90% are taking some kind of education? This is a fact. 90% of the Swedish population, until the day they die at 85 or 90, are taking some type of an education. And they're very kind and very articulate and very compassionate. They give the Nobel Prize, remember this. And I said to him, that was a very kind thing for you to do. He said, you would like to think that, and I appreciate what you said, but it's an economically intelligent thing to do. Do you know how much we save when people don't need a lifelong of drugs? And yes, the human part of this, the pain, the suffering, the work loss that you can't go to, the birthday parties for your children and your grandchildren you couldn't be at, the walks with your friends. We are willing to sacrifice human life and human health for the profits of a few. And when we start to look at these things, people, they are blatantly apparent, but nobody seems to actually put it on the table in front of them and start to dissect and analyze and see how this affects you. This is not Brian Clement speaking about abstract subjects. This is me speaking about what affects you. Why you get sick unnecessarily. Why you get old